I am brain broken. I know what it is, even in opposition to all of the weird shit that they were doing back then. I'm still brain broken. Okay? So if you don't know what it is, you're lucky. But basically, Gamergate, for those of you who don't know, the short and a brief version is exactly what Asmongold is doing right now. Okay, here, we'll move on to more fun shit.
But let's say, hypothetically, I did do it because I've been particularly curious about the rapidly expanding cesspool of hate in broader gaming communities and content creation since around, 2014, just picking that number off the top of my head for no reason, don't worry about it at all. I picked this subreddit as my testing ground because not only is it a very, very large gaming space, but I gotta say that having highly upvoted neo-Nazi propaganda on the subreddit makes it
Totalitarian socialists who use violence and intimidation.
The culture is.
We already have a dominant culture.
What is
based
the dominant
on
culture?
European and Christian values and identity.
Are the things that I see randomly pop up on Our Popular really that bad, or were these just outliers? Spoilers, that shit's actually pretty bad. First, look at my very cute house mug that I painted. Amazing. And second, I was originally going to spend 3 months documenting this for a larger data set, but around day 20, I decided to start hating being alive, so I cut that short for my own well-being. And holy guacamole, if my mental state cratered that bad as an outsider sightseeing my way through their swamp for a few weeks, I can't imagine.
No, people that say, isn't that what the AFD is doing, misunderstand my point. Every single person within the AFD's ranks absolutely is a lover of Adolf Hitler. American Nazis, on the other hand, genuinely do think Adolf Hitler was a villain while still embodying every characteristic of Adolf Hitler. That's the major difference. They're somehow even more confused in their politics. Do you understand? Like, the AFD will be like, oh, Hitler was a socialist. No, that's bullshit. They love Adolf Hitler, okay? They do. They can't say it because it's literally illegal. In America, there are people out there in the United States of America, I promise you, there are people out there who hate Adolf Hitler and agree with virtually every policy, but they still hate him. It's the type of person that thinks like, well, you know, if someone is like calling a black person the N-word, oh, that's a bridge too far. Or, you know, wearing the Klan's robe is a bridge too far. That's unacceptable, while still maintaining a 99% success rate as far as like policy positions, as far as what their worldview is with a Klansman. Okay? This is a very uniquely American framework. It's the reason why I think Felix will always say like European racism requires too much reading for the average American. Where like the average American racist has not actually gone through the reading to figure out like the most successful ways of hating Jewish people or different minority groups. There are some on the internet that are trying to change that, obviously, the growing alt-right movement and things like that. But overall, like the average American just agrees with fascist movements, both throughout history in the past and even contemporary fascist movements. But they don't actually fully subscribe to it. Like they don't like the leadership of it because we fought them historically and we know that they're like our enemies.
Imagine what it must feel like to be here and in other places all of the time, constantly wallowing in the torrent of malice like that part of gamer YouTube whose entire existence is predicated on having an audience too lazy to fact check anything that they say. Did you know that exposure to hate speech literally deteriorates pieces of your brain? Like, it's no wonder I got the urge to do an Elon by day 10. I just don't really understand why people would hang out here instead of like...
I think they just hate white people. In the Harry Potter books, Severus Snape is described as a thin man with greasy black hair, a hook nose, and shallow or a pale skin. They just hate white people.
Playing repo with their friends.
No, man, they just want to make money, and they think this is a good way to make money. It probably isn't a good way to make money regardless, but the idea that like there is a secret plot within HBO to undermine white people is so stupid. Didn't you watch this video before on stream? No, I was going to watch it.
No. Well,
I had it.
oh
my.
Oh. Okay.
I'm not sponsored by Repo, but I can be. And look, if there are any Asmongold lurkers here, I'd love it if you leave a slur in my comment section for the engagement. I really miss getting slurs. I'm getting way too many nice comments recently. Now come with me as we go down this great journey to determine if certain gaming communities really are all just self-perpetuating hate machines, or maybe it's just not that bad and I've gotten a rather paltry first impression.
Hey, you found a treasure.
Is there room for one more? Oh,
No.
fuck. No.
Friendly reminder here that I'm not a data scientist or a numbers guy, just someone with very poor decision-making skills and access to Google Sheets. The organization is very simple. I focused on some traits I thought would be the most relevant to my search at hand. I just messed around for a couple days, changing some things as I went until voila! I saw patterns and repetitions and I landed on this beautiful, beautiful masterpiece that we see here, which you can check out in the description. Please, be careful. It's nasty in there. Obviously, since hate was what I was looking for, I have a checkbox for if a post is hating something. Obviously, we got to break down the hate by flavor, so we got a column to point out some obias and isms. I'm very proud of that name, by the way, because it lets me include game journalism and fascism, but not the disliking it kind of way.
What is
Based
the
on
dominant culture?
European and Christian values and identity.
I also noticed a bunch of scapegoats or dog whistle type beats showing up every now and then, whatever you want to call them, which are basically just repeated signals, phrases, or vibes largely attached to coping. For example, here we got the good old East and West complaining about women. In this one, we got some straight up White Lives Matter energy because people...
CBS instant poll of Trump's speech, 76% approve, 23% disapprove.
Which happens a lot more frequently than you might think.
What is this? A new disease is born, Russophrenia, Russophrenic, a new term for the Oxford Dictionary, a condition where the sufferer believes Russia is both about to collapse and take over the world. What?
Or not think.
News posts, and they literally, like, make no mistake, they're anti-Israel, certainly. They're also anti-Semitic as
outlet, as they illustrate on their website. Definitely a reliable source on trans stuff. Very, very cool. I also have a conspiracy checkbox for definitely unrelated reasons. Outside of that, I got pretty basic stuff like the date it was posted, the link to the post, and the upvote count, of course. I also have the political leaning of said posts in a very simple number of categories based on what I saw to be most common. Most of these should be relatively self-explanatory, but slop is a general catch-all for outliers, really. Some examples of this include a post about somebody being mad that an AI wouldn't acknowledge that Roman emperors weren't all white, which is objectively true, by the way.
yeah, what the... Wait, they're not. I wouldn't even say the average Roman would be considered white by, like, white American standards now. What the... Yeah, whiteness is a concept of modern invention that can't be applied to the Roman Empire since it was a massively diverse continent-spanning entity that the likes of which we've never seen since. Thanks. This is a great video.
Or
so
this
far.
perfectly nice post shout.
The only reason why you don't like this video is the optics, okay? Like, that's it. You don't like the optics of a wayfish liberal making this video. That's it. That's the only reason why you don't like it. If I made this exact same video and spoke the way I spoke, you'd be like, this is the best video I've ever done.
Shouting out the badassery that is Christopher Lee. Rip King. I also have the very special just hating category, which is when it's a post made to just hate on something. Usually minorities, women, or leftism. Like this one, or this one. They also hate fat people. Or this.
You know what's really funny about this kind of take? Which of these two individuals do you think the average Asmongoldian looks like? The guy on the right or the lady on the left? Like, she's just catching a stray for no reason here, but I don't think the average Asmongold fan looks like this depiction on the right. They just fantasize about this, you know? Also, just like they're fantasizing about people who tell you not to eat any eggs, who is telling you not to eat any eggs? Like, these guys sit around and fucking imagine grievances, dude. Who? Like vegans? Really? Is that big of a deal in your life? I mean, I eat a fuck ton of eggs, but I just don't understand. Like, are you surrounded by vegans? Are you at like a fucking anarchist commune? Who is telling you this? I have never encountered a person in the real world, maybe online, but never a person in the fucking real world that's been like, hey, you actually shouldn't eat any eggs at all. Never. Not once. Not even a vegan in the real world has actually told me to my face that I should not eat any eggs at all. Who are these people? Who are they surrounded by? Of course, I've also never encountered a person that's told me to eat 12 plus eggs a day either, because I'm pretty sure that would be bad. I mean, you're gonna get high cholesterol. You're just basically fucking begging.
Or this one, hating diversity. Or this one, just projecting. Because Twitter is Twitter for pedophiles. And because I'm a charitable person, I also included a nice category, which is when it's just a post about something nice, something positive, not at the expense of something else, like the Christopher Lee one. And I'm sure you'll be—
She's a health minister of Belgium who said not to eat eggs from certain farms that were poisoned or some shit. Wait, that's what they mistook as like a like.
Be very surprised to know that out of the over 200 of these, I found 7. 3%. Shocker. 47% were right-leaning. 27% were doing a centrism, usually in favor of the right.
Chinese national who revokes Palestine rallies at UCLA just had her visa revoked. Respectfully, I don't think foreign nationals should be allowed to protest. That sounds like an exploit. Wonder how that would go in her own country. This is one of my favorite types of comments because it, on the one hand, is celebrating America behaving like the other country that they're fantasizing about, but also simultaneously saying the other country is wrong for not allowing people to protest. So it makes no sense. It's like whenever people go, oh, Hasan, bitch, you couldn't say that in Turkey. Yeah, bitch, that's why I'm in America, saying it in America. And here you are saying America should resemble Turkey. This makes no sense. Also, to add insult to injury, this story is fake. This is not a Chinese national who organized the Palestine rallies at the UCLA who had her visa revoked. This is an American who was apprehended and then released later. She's not a Chinese national. She's an American citizen of Chinese descent, potentially. I don't even know if she's of Chinese descent. She's just Asian, okay? So these guys saw, I think it was initially like liberals who saw this, because I saw this in like the pro-Palestine side as well. People saw Asian girl, Asian student get apprehended by the authorities. And then the pro-Palestine side said, oh, look, they're doing, a revocation of a visa for free speech. And then the Republicans celebrated it. Posted on the Asmongold subreddit by a Turk hero, by the way. Not even going to get into that. My countrymen, oh boy. Oh, brother, you have not seen the fucking depths of depravity.
Right-wing stuff. 29% were politically neutral, and a big, fat goose egg for left-leaning sentiment. Wowzers. Shocker. Color me surprised. I also have fun little breakdowns, like politics counting for 45% of all content, followed by just hating at a whopping 21%. I'm honestly a little shocked that games is only at 16%, but hey, gotta go where the money is these days, right? At least one obia or ism was present in about 69%, nice, of posts, with racism, sexism, and transphobia being the most popular. Scapegoats were in about 79% of the posts, with leftism being the top at a whopping 40% presence. Shout out leftism, let's go. And the number we have all not been waiting for, because I showed it at the beginning, is nearly 90% of posts were hating on something. 3%, a measly 7 were nice. God damn, dude, that's rough. That study about exposure to hate reducing empathy has to be true, because that is the only possible reason why so many people are glazing Elon and the Tesla stuff. Thank God these brave soldiers are standing up for the fraud billionaire as people rightfully protest him fucking up the country. Our poor billionaires get so much unjust hate. If Tesla dealerships aren't supposed to be burned, why are they burning shaped? Now look, I'm gonna be one of those 27% of people and do a centrism here and just for a second say, isn't being around this much—
What's the scientific and objective metric of nice is my question? Yeah, obviously it's not a real scientific study, dude. What the fuck are you talking about? He literally admitted that. He was like, I'm a fucking dumb YouTuber. This is not like a serious scientific study. I just was tabulating all of the fucking posts on the subreddit for 3 months was my ultimate goal, but I did it for a month and I couldn't fucking handle it. This first 8 minutes is him explaining his methodology for the record.
hate, just like awful, regardless of what it's at. Let's pretend for a minute they aren't doing their best to mimic our conservative. Let's pretend every post actually is about games. And let's say, even if this place was hating games and game culture for reasons unrelated to easily disprovable Gamergate era—
A history of women in video games throughout the years. Look at this loser in his video games. Look at this loser. Why won't anyone give me attention? 2006. The cake is a lie. XDXT. Girls can play games too, you know. I'm a girl gamer. 2010. Girls are just as good as guys pretty much. Video games are sexist. Video games must cater to our needs. A man killed me in a game. I was practically raped. Gamers are dead. 2014. You're an idiot if you think you were ever bullied and it's your fault if you were. 2015. I will buy this game just to trigger man children. In 2016. 2017, video games need to revise history to include minorities. 2018, wait, why are women saying this? So it was the invention of women playing video games that turned video games woke. Donate to my Patreon so I can play video games naked. 2018. 2019, we need to ban incel losers from video games. Someone in the chat said woke plus men equals whoa man. Ah, that's right. They shortened woke. Women are woke.
narratives like ethics in games journalism and forced diversity made to take advantage of white masculine nerd culture's latent insecurities due to late-stage capitalism in order to have a plausible cover to force women and minorities out of gaming spaces because of politically unaware gamers are slaves to the market forces and the status quo because it validates their existence without needing them to change themselves. Wouldn't it still be ass to see people hating on things all the time? Hi there, I'm a different Noah. You can tell because my legs are crossed a different way. I'm just popping in real quick to say that some people might say that Gamergate is about ethics in games journalism. This is a lie. A lie that some people might not know is a lie and feel legitimately concerned about, but it is a lie.
No, most people just don't know what Gamergate is, and I think it should stay that way. For most normies, they don't know what the fuck Gamergate is. And that's awesome. Because if you know what Gamergate is, whether you're against it or think it's the most important political movement of all time, you are brain broken. I am brain broken. I know what it is, even in opposition to all of the weird shit that they were doing back then. I'm still fucking brain broken. Okay? So if you don't know what it is, you're lucky. But basically, Gamergate, for those of you who don't know, the short and a brief version is exactly what Asmongold is doing right now, but in like 2017. Like literally to a T. Also it was identified by Steve Bannon famously, because Steve Bannon, when he was working at Goldman Sachs, realized the reactionary power of gamers when he got Goldman Sachs to invest into gold power farmers in China and WoW, and try to activate the gamers in 4chan and all of those people through Breitbart. Of course, this was a limited amount of success overall, or as far as his contributions to Trump's 2016 electoral victory, but it's still unfortunately a part of history. All right, let's continue.
Nonetheless, Gamergate is a very verifiable hate campaign started by 4chan losers against women and minorities in gaming spaces, primarily focused on 3 very unfairly targeted women. in which people tried to ruin their lives. Ethics in games journalism is a cover-up created by the main agitators to reframe their desire to destroy these women's lives into something more palatable for the average nerdy guy in 2014. This is very well documented, and you can see the
Yeah, also, Brianna Wu was one of the main targets of Gamergate. That's right. I don't know enough about the background of all of these people, and I don't care to learn about it, but Felix explains it. Felix Biederman of Chapo Trap House will always say, like, she wanted to build like a mobile game with furries in it, and it was this like incredibly convoluted, incredibly complicated process that required a shit ton of funding, and it ultimately failed. And she became famous because she would be like, oh, they want to assassinate me with a sniper rifle for making this furry mobile game.
evolution through the original Burgers and Fries IRC chat that they planned things in which one of the 3 women they were harassing got into and leaked. Very funny. Don't believe that the harassment was truly that bad? Well, one of them posted a week's worth of harassment from just Twitter, not including other places by the way, on their blog one time. You want to see it?
Stop. You do not understand anything about gaming. Death threats are made daily as well as rape threats. Guess what? It's not only women. Boo-hoo, stop crying, you selfish faking bitch, and get over it. Who would rape you? You're fucking ugly, you Arab bitch. I hope you get raped by 4 men with 9-inch cocks. Hey bitch, here's a bright idea. Stay the fuck away from gaming. Let us do us. We don't fuck with your line of work, so why fuck with ours? This is an anonymous death threat. The only question left is, will fem frequency be R-worded first or kill first or both? Death threats and rape threats are in the culture of gaming. Have you ever played an online game? Get used to it. Die, please. Well, that one's kind. Okay, this one's not so kind. Kill yourself. If you take death threats seriously, kill yourself. This is an interesting one. Yeah, the 9-inch cock thing is a fascist sexual pathology as well, also. This guy says, EO fucking slut, if you will ever come to Europe, I will R-word you into oblivion. Let me ask you kindly, Anita, get the fuck out of the gaming community. You are like a parasite, would you? You stupid ass bitch, I will... Let's move on. Okay, one more. You can literally die in a hole, Lamau. We are the gamers, you stupidly delusional cunt. No one likes you, Anita Sarkazian, you little bitch. Ahem. Oh, God, Erming. This is Reddit speak. Ahem. You do realize that by speaking out for all women, you are being a complete cunt, right? That guy had a fedora on when he posted that. Please die in a car crash. Get cancer. I have nothing against feminism, but you're one sexist bitch. Please die. That's a... Is that ISIS? Okay, this is repeating some of the same ones. All right.
Very cool. Wow, that was fucking awful. Imagine that every week for years of your life. However, some people can't or refuse to because they see it as something done by just a few bad actors and otherwise just movement, or that's just what being online is like. And this...
Yeah, nothing gets these guys going. I will say, like, there is an assortment of different versions of hate, like an assortment of different bigotries that Erming Giles. So I will say this. Former Gamergator speaks fluent woke, shocks SJWs all around. So what I was going to say is, so a lot of these guys at the time had a litany of different things that they hated. Some were like racist towards Indians. Others were racist towards Muslims. Many of them were racist towards Jews, like all this stuff, right? But there's one unifying factor that I think all gamers, especially gamers of a certain age range, which is either 15 to 17 or 35 plus, one born out of a hormonal desire to be with women and not being able to be with women because of their own fears, And the other because they're victims of family court or because they just spent their 20s not being with women and developing tremendous resentment past that stage. The one thing that unites all of these different haters, I've never met like a gamer, capital G, hard R gamer that doesn't hate women. You can have capital G, hard R gamers that might not be anti-black racist, for example. You know what I mean? But then exhibit all the other tendencies and all the other qualities. There's a lot of diversity out there. But the one thing that they fucking dial in on, the one hatred that unites them, I've never met a reactionary, feminist, capital G, hard R gamer. Never. I think that it's a big tent of bigotry, but the uniting principle is women. Okay?
Is cope. Anyways, if you want to know more, I've linked well-documented sources below because Google search is fucked, and it's easier than ever to see misinformation in search results. Boy, I wonder if this is going to come up again in the future of this video.
No, it's in the freezer.
They put me in the freezer because I'm so cool.
And I'm not the only one saying this kind of environment sucks big balls, by the way. Along the way, I found numerous posts on the Asmongold subreddit of people saying that sucks now because the dude spends all his time
This subreddit used to be fun, but now it's been ever since the election unbearable. Asmongold and Amash should make a new subreddit for politics only so the sub can go back to normal. About right. I wonder what game Asmon is playing right now. Let's go see. I bet it's a fun game. Politics, never again.
barfing out empty, stupid opinions on politics he doesn't know anything about. And as such, the subreddit has morphed and attracted very active, agitated people like this guy I found who spends all his time posting on Asmongold and very other normal subreddits. I also found another post in the other direction that said the subreddit is feeding into Asmongold the other way around. But my personal theory is that it's one shitty feedback loop, with the only ones winning being the agitators and the guy with not a single care in the world outside of lining his pockets. Man, I wish when people just didn't feel the need to post.
Once again, I will always say this, and this is 100% correct. I know Asmongold. Asmongold doesn't care about making money. Asmongold cares about relevance. Asmongold cares about being liked. It doesn't matter what the audience profile looks like, but as long as he's getting that positive affirmation, positive feedback, and eyeballs, that's all he cares about. He lives in piss and shit, okay? He does not need to live in piss and shit. He could have dramatically improved his living standards by this point. He doesn't spend any money because he doesn't care about spending any money. He doesn't care about making money. He cares about validation. This is part of the reason why he can never perform on his main channel. This is why he started his secondary channel, because there was too much pressure by his own estimation. Like he was getting shit on every now and then on his main channel. Now that his second channel has grown in size, but he is better equipped at basically stamping out dissent on his second channel, he feels more comfortable just simply streaming on that. He never leaves his house. He does not give a shit. He only fucking cares about relevance. He would have mental breakdowns whenever he was bad at a game. Yes, I've heard this sort of stuff and like panic attacks and stuff like that he's gotten from negative comments and things of that nature. This goes back to what I was saying. He just wants attention. He wants eyeballs. Do you care about relevance? Of course I do. I do for two different reasons. One, because it's good and it makes me feel good. Okay? I won't lie to you about that. Of course I do. But the other reason why I care about it is because I have a goal, an underlying goal, communicating my worldview to as broad an audience as possible, an audience that comes in here with charitability. Okay? It's also doubly impactful for this reason. When I experienced like diminishing returns. I feel like Asmon would say something very similar. Yes, the difference between me and Asmon, though, is that he doesn't actually have a defined worldview. He is just going along with the grifting winds. If there was some kind of world-changing event, if we just like magically changed the world upside down, and it was communism that was the popular sentiment being expressed, Asmongold would be doing the same yeah-based takes, but towards a Maoist Donald Trump. That's the difference. I don't even think he would disagree with that. I mean, I think he will say he's not a grifter because that's not good for his audience to catch on to. My ex was an Asmongold fan, asked why I hate him. I said I didn't. I just think he's being irresponsible with what he says. No research, no real conviction, and it affects a lot of impressionable viewers. Yes. I feel like everybody forgets when he said all that right-wing stuff is entirely because it gets views. He said in his apology Reddit thread when he got banned for calling a genocide, a fan asked him, are the anti-woke videos are going away? And he said, no, they get way too many views. Those are absolutely saying. Yeah. This is also partially the reason why he has this impossible to decipher worldview, where on the one hand, he'll say he likes Bernie Sanders, but also on the other hand, he loves Donald Trump. Make with that information what you will. Why would he both like Bernie Sanders, but also simultaneously love Donald Trump? Because both are immensely popular anti-establishment figures on the internet. It is not because he actually likes Bernie Sanders' opinions on socialized medicine, because if that was the case, then he would despise Donald Trump, a person who has no investment in socialized medicine, a person who does not care about socialized medicine at all. And I think the reason why this heel turn, came about is because he got an endless amount of clout off of his reaction to the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. This was when he was like, oh, I can just based my way into hundreds of thousands of views. He then quieted down and kept doing the anti-woke gaming slant that he was on. Some of those opinions are genuine, I think. But it corresponded perfectly to an audience that was ready to hear someone go based over Donald Trump. Okay, that's it. It was his pivot to right-wing ideology that made him and Techie made me turn to you. Obviously because of Bernie's and Trump's look, smartass. True. This is also partially the reason why it's very hard to pin him down on a position that is consistent, because as time changes and the attitude shifts in public discourse, he will never fucking continue defending positions that he thinks his audience won't like. This is precisely the reason why, while he's attacking me, he comes across as the #1 dick rider of Israel, but on different moments, we'll say things like, why do we care about Israel so much? Why are we giving Israel so much money? Does that make sense? Obviously, if he was someone who is unconditionally in support of Palestinian emancipation, for example, if he was, that was a Turkish Asmongold fan that I just banned. Utan oğlum utan. İş utan kendinden. Biraz düşün. Attacking you is a stretch. Responding to your takes about him sounds more reasonable. Attacking me is a stretch. Okay, run the clip. Come on, send me the viral clip. I know one of you has it ready to go. The Hasan Productions one. It's perfect. It's like 30 seconds long, and it basically shows that he has no real fucking perspective whatsoever. First name, last name. Thank you for the 38 gifted subs. Let's take a look.
You see Hasan? No, I don't see Hasan. I heard he was out there. I don't know. I think that I saw an image of it, and I think he's on like the side up the top. So he's not actually going to go down there and stand in the in this area, because if he did, he'd get in trouble. Right? Like, he has no problem LARPing as a revolutionary, but actually putting it on the line, this is going to be very different, which, to be fair, he was. Well, if he was actually doing that, he should get in trouble. Like, I mean, for sure. He was, though? Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to go and double check. He already did? Oh, I'd have to double see and see it. Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think all these people should just get arrested. That's really how I see it. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how like, there's no other solution to it other than that.
This, or whether it be the fact that he claims to be a free speech advocate and has routinely fucking celebrated the Customs and Border Patrol detainment of myself for things that I've said, or, you know, numerous other instances where he's simply just criticizing me.
Aren't they impeding?
No. There was a time and place where Asmongold was very charitable to me, as a matter of fact. Very, very charitable. But he realized that directly attacking me and making anti-Hasan videos multiple times a week, if not at least once a day, was much better for his algorithm, because a lot of the new fans that he had cultivated, some of the old fans that he had radicalized into this position, was invested in this fuck Hasan narrative. We used to have productive discourse back and forth. Yeah. He used to even push back against this chat early on when his chat...
They are. They're impeding a highway.
His chat early on used to... What is this? You were right that he doesn't care about anything. You can watch him look for approval in his chat live. The moment that he gets positive feedback, he leans in, and the roaches are always looking to see how far he'll go. What is this? Asmongold signals to his fellow Nazis a thread. What?
A lot of young people don't have as much investment in the stock market, so the tariffs don't seem to be as much.
What is this? This seems like a effort post. We're diving too much into this shit. I don't care about this. All right. We're going to stick to the video. I think Asmon is serious about his hardcore anti-immigrant sentiment. I don't know if it's fully rooted in white supremacy, but it's definitely anti-immigrant. No, I think his positions have gotten significantly more hardliner as a direct consequence of the feedback loop that he is... the feedback loop that he's cultivated for himself. The fuck Hasan narrative, not to be confused with the stupid, sexy Hasan narrative. The fuck Hasan narrative is the stupid, sexy Hasan narrative in most instances. At least like the inception point is the same.
All of their opinions online, like, man, those were the days when we just didn't need to have a care in the world, and the only thing we really wanted was some uppies.
Can I pick you up? I wish I could pick you up.
You can. Here.
Uppies.
Uppies.
Puppies?
Uppies.
Yeah, his only real positions in air quotes are his gaming opinions, for sure, including some of the reactionary takes that he has about video games and the way that like games need to be. No, I think your last convo with him did it. After his ban, I think he felt bad because you basically dog walked them through simple concepts. I think he felt stupid. Yeah, that probably plays a role in it as well. He felt stupid, or rather, he looked stupid to his audience. Because in the aftermath of his ban, which I did not advocate for, by the way, I have never advocated for Asmongold to be banned, just so you guys understand, given my position, given what I say, obviously, if we're talking about like fucking people getting censored, I'm number one on the chopping block way before Asmongold, because Asmongold can always lean on the fact that he is just simply defending the current administration. But that conversation, I think, had a lot of people in his audience go, wait a minute, maybe you're not this reasonable centrist that you've presented yourself as, especially because there's a lot of people who are not very intelligent about politics. So he has this way of, I guess, presenting himself as like a moderate or a centrist, when in fact he's actually a far-right reactionary, constantly looking at rage bait that undermines like the left, a cartoonish depiction of the left that he presents that he is undermining with regular frequency. So, basically, he was more worried that it would make him look bad if he further had conversations with me. So instead, he just kind of hides behind his audience and launches attacks from over there, while simultaneously, whenever there's like pressure from his audience demanding that he talk to me, he will always back away by making up reasons like, oh, well, he just is not an honest actor, so there is no reason to talk to him. Things of that nature.
Uppies! Uppies!
Yeah, this is also a good take as well. The entire reason he called for a Palestinian genocide is because he Reddited too close to the sun. He saw how popular anti-Palestine sentiment was on his Reddit and Reddit in general, and genuinely thought nobody would push back against him. There's a reason that's the only thing he's ever had to apologize for, when he has arguably said things equally as bad, such as denying the Holocaust by 1%. Or numerous other things like fucking saying he wants to go on a ride along with Tom Homan to go and deport undocumented migrants in this country and black bag and kidnap them and send them to CECOT. Things like that obviously are at least under the comfortable banner of right-wing policies and right-wing politics, which is precisely the reason why he can't say too much about it. But just like he said, I'm willing to bet that he will have a lot of Islamophobic sentiments if he hasn't already unleashed a torrent of hate towards Zohran Mamdani, despite the fact that he said he would vote for Zohran Mamdani because Zohran Mamdani said he wouldn't go to Israel, but he'd stay in New York City. Why would he do this? Because obviously a lot of these guys also despise Muslims and despise Islam in general, or what they understand as Islam. And And because Charlie Kirk has created a new permission structure for the likes of Asmongold, he knows he can just fucking get away with saying all that shit without any sort of serious pushback.
Rotate you. I rotate.
Oh my god, this is very disorienting.
If you subscribe, I will personally come to your house and give you uppies. And things are changing over time in the sub, by the way. I have actively noticed sentiment adjust over time on similar flavors of posts.
Before people go, you don't think there's an underlying racist tendency in Asmon's psyche? Yes, there is, but it doesn't matter. Asmongold operates off of the permission structure that is around him. Asmongold operates off of the whims of his audience. He is audience captured through and through. And therefore, it doesn't matter how fucking genuinely racist he actually is deep down inside. What matters is what he is allowed to say, and what matters is what the audience reaction is, which is precisely the reason why I said if this was a Maoist world, okay, Asmongold would be a Maoist, regardless of his own personal positions on the matter. Okay, that's it. His own racist framework, his own white supremacist framework is irrelevant when it comes to this. The content that you see and the content that you perceive, the content that you hear from Asmongold is entirely calculated and designed to bring in a right-wing audience with bottom-of-the-barrel commentary, oftentimes simply leaning into Donald Trump. He sometimes even miscalculates. Okay? He sometimes miscalculates. Like when he actually backed the wrong horse with the Elon Musk-Donald Trump equation, where he said, because Elon Musk follows him and Donald Trump doesn't know who the fuck he is, he said Donald Trump is R-worded and defended Elon Musk. Of course, no one in his audience will punish him because ultimately he just goes back to the norm. He goes back to the whatever the fucking right-wing meta is for the day.
It's like, remember this one I showed in the beginning? Obvious bait. Comments are shredding it, agreeing that it's obvious bait. However, this post, pretty wide agreement. Kind of scary. Kind of scary. A result of this.
After his apology video, you made fun of him for days. At first, he didn't respond back, but you just kept calling him disgusting, filthy, and stupid. How could you expect someone to just take that and never push back at you? I'll fuck with you, but come on, bro. First of all, he is disgusting and filthy. What do you mean? And I don't think I called him stupid then. I said Asmongold. He is finally reformed. I was actually excited at the prospect of him changing his attitude. It's one of my favorite things on the fucking planet. If he received that poorly and you actually bit that bait, that's on you, my friend. You're wrong. This is revisionist history. I often will perhaps a little too much offer charitability to content creators to a degree where other people will fucking yell at me in my community saying, "Oh, you're just dick riding and glazing." The reason why I do that is because I think like charitability and a positive relationship is unless it reaches a certain point, you know, and Asmongold has passed that point a long time ago. But charitability and a decent relationship with content creators such as this one will yield positive results. A lot of people in my community get mad at me for being that way, not realizing that I have been charitable to them at a certain point, or someone identical to their worldview at some point, which is what helped them move through this journey. He is disgusting, but nah, go back to your videos. You said he knows nothing daily. He also doesn't know anything. It's not wrong, for the record. Talked about how nasty he was and such. You just said he's disgusting. You know he's nasty. What do you want me to do? Lie? But once again, in the aftermath of his apology video, I quite literally was celebrating that he might actually reform. You're drama farming. I don't know exactly what the point of no return was. It possibly was, I think it probably was when he, either when he said like he wanted to do a fucking Ash Ketchum style like deportation ride along, when I was like, oh, this is over. I wonder when it was. Anyway, this is all drama farm shit. You also hide behind a camera. Why do you care where he lives or the couch he sits on? I think JD Vance's favorite couch. I think it's pretty funny to say that about someone like myself because I objectively do not just hide behind the camera. Don't make me am a fake revolutionary that LARPs. In this last month alone, I've been shot at numerous times. I've been stun grenaded. I've been fucking maced, tear gassed. And yeah, the premise behind that chatter is false. You were kind to him in the aftermath of his apology, for sure.
Increase in radicalization over time is that some people who actually have a limit for this stuff and, you know, would rather just hate on women and fat people are gonna leave. But some will get even more radicalized until it's nothing but people who make active Nazi dog whistle pose.
Asmon is so clean and not filthy, guys. But is it bad to think certain cultures have faults and are inferior in aspects? I hold that belief. Yes. Because if I were to ask you to define what cultural traits you think you ascribe to certain cultures and why you consider them to be inferior or superior, you would very quickly reveal a underlying bigotry. Because I criticize, for example, America on its impact, right? I criticize the United States of America from a materialist framework on the impact that it has all around the world. I don't think it's just like American culture, even though in joking moments as an American myself, I will say American culture is burger and whatnot, right? But in most circumstances, when people say this kind of thing, they just simply think that other cultures are inferior. It's your assessment. Western consumerist culture is inferior. It's also bullshit. But once again, Western society, Western civilization is the dominant, hegemonic superstructure, which is precisely the reason why criticizing the dominant power group in this regard is not the same as whatever you fantasized about other cultures that you consider is inferior. Violent cultures are inferior. This is a great take. If I were to ask this person what is a violent culture, they'd probably say like Iran, right? Because there is obviously an invisibility to the violence that America dishes out. It's not a cultural aspect. It's not. America doesn't do violence all around the world for cultural reasons. They do it because they want to dominate the planet. They do it because there is a material need for this. It corresponds to their interests of advancing capital, advancing capitalism. Okay? You don't factor that in as a violent culture. You think anyone that is responding to said violence in self-defense is actually the real violence. Anyway, let's continue.
Hello, what the fuck is this? But fret not, they're very consistent about hating women and minorities over time. Gotta love it. To keep my enlightened centrism going here, I might ideologically be on the side of someplace like r/gaming circle jerk, which exists to mock capital G gamers, but even being there just feels like an exercise in making me feel better than the—
I think it started when he played Twitcher Terrorist after he came back from his ban and leaned heavily on deplatforming terrorist supporters because you made him look very bad in that debate and forced him to apologize, which angered his fan base. Yeah, that could be it. I think him playing Twitcher Terrorist was definitely a turning point for me. Especially because he was leaning heavily on aligning with Destiny and Dan Stalkman, Sexpestiny and Dan Stalkman, when in fact he knew how much they fucking stalk my ass, and has even in private correspondence told me that he could not believe how much they fucking stalk my ass. But he still turned around and aligned with them because I guess he felt slighted, despite the fact that I was actually very charitable to him in that back and forth conversation that we had where he literally said Palestinians are an inferior culture that deserve genocide. Also, yes, I'm not engaging in cultural relativism when I say that there's no such thing as like an inferior culture, because that is just a substitute for inferior people, okay? That's it. It's just a more polite, more polished way of saying you think some people are inferior. A culture is comprised of the people that uplift it. That's it. It's no different than saying, oh, I'm not saying black people are inferior. I'm saying black culture is inferior. That's it. There's good and bad to every culture, but ultimately it all revolves around the material realities that people exist in.
Capital G gamers, even though I obviously know that I am already. And even ironic exposure to stuff like this just like makes my little brain hurt. I do want to—
What about Israeli culture? I think violence and genocide has become cultural there, though. Of course, it's material first and foremost, is everything, but of course I agree with the general point. No. Even then, Israel is a genocidal apartheid state that is built around not a culture, but an ideology of extermination. Okay? And this ideology is born out of both the Western world's interest in the region and also Israel's interest in complete domination and material gains that they are making, land grabs, ethnic cleansing, repopulation.
Be crystal clear here, though, and say that the side that is posting bootlicking, racist, transphobic, right-wing hate speech is objectively worse by every metric than the side mocking the side posting bootlicking, racist, transphobic, right-wing hate speech. But I do not know how much more productive racist, transphobic.
Touche. Wait, 32,000 upvotes on this? There's no way this is on the Asmongold subreddit, right? Asmongold thinks it's a violation of free speech when devs make video game boobs smaller, but when the Department of Homeland Security openly kidnaps a green card holder for being pro-Palestine, he thinks it's awesome and not a violation of the First Amendment. There is 0% chance that that is on the... Oh, that was on r/gaming circle jerk. Okay, got it.
Phobic right-wing hate speech. But I do not know how much more productive it is. I do not want my experience defined by only hating people whose existence is defined by hating people. I'm a complex person who just wants uppies.
Uppies. Uppies.
I'm skipping.
Productive, and sure, it might be funny sometimes, but it's not going to get me any tall.
Oh yeah, the "we lost Kojima" is so funny. Kojima, as though he hasn't been woke his entire fucking existence.
All women. That last part turns out to be wrong. I'm going to start hating so fucking fast. Awareness of shitty rhetoric and dog whistles is very important, mind you, but let's not pretend that making memes is activism, all right? Please. Go volunteer, go distribute food, do something for your community, be a human being. People in these types of environments feel stuck in the hate machine, largely shadowboxing what the agitators tell them to be angry at, even if the reality is something else, because not going along with what's being hated on means you are open to get hated on. It's some serious in-group, out-group shit. I mean, look at the rhetoric. It is literally everywhere. These people this, these people that, more like these nuts. I genuinely believe that a lot of the guys in these communities are perfectly normal dudes in real life who have just been poisoned by the bad apples that are trying to radicalize their communities, not realizing that they're being played like small misogynistic fiddles by people who make money off of them performing the mental gymnastics of it being women and minorities and not capitalism ruining video games and media. And this was going to be the end of my spreadsheet saga. But as if God himself moved the universe in my favor, I got the opportunity to put that belief of mine to the test.
But they were perfectly civil guys. It's just very much like they're young men who are lost in a cesspool.
Yeah. Do you think you changed any of their mind?
I don't think so, but I want to keep talking to them to hopefully slowly de-radicalize them. That's kind of my
Can
goal.
you teach them how to mix their audio? Because it was causing me physical pain.
I'm just kidding. Some up-and-coming reactionaries reacted to one of my old shitty videos about the whole Sweet Baby Ink thing. You can go watch it if you want, because I linked it in the description, but it was really just a whole lot of the same old "these people are wrong," in between frequent bursts of stuff like
Stop my guy, please.
and then
because Muda may not be perfect, but he is like amazing compared to this.
I don't understand how people watch this, by the way. I genuinely don't get it. I will never understand it. Like there is an entire fucking field of content like this that is unimaginably fucking low effort, of just like a bunch of ugly ass dudes with like Vaseline cameras, okay, that basically just sit around and like shit on all these other people. But like it's so low effort, it doesn't make sense. And it's half the time it's either ugly ass dudes with Vaseline cameras or dudes with like really weird profile pictures like this one that don't show their faces. It's just like, it seems like gossip. You know what I mean? But I guess, you know, then again, Asmongold too. That makes sense.
This idiot. Oh my God, it is so refreshing to hear from an actual good YouTuber.
Yep.
I am hurt. and crushed. However, being the virtuous messiah-like creature that I am, I saw this as an opportunity. So I reached out, and to my surprise,
would their takes be more attractive, or would their takes be more valid if they're attractive? Yes. No, dumbass, that's not what I'm saying. It's like, it's incredibly fucking low effort. They just like, it's like 3 dudes in a Discord call. Why the fuck would anybody listen to that? I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand it. And one might say the same thing about what I do, right? You could be like, Hasan, you're fucking one dickhead living in your goddamn house in your living room talking to a fucking camera for 8 hours a day. But at least like there's a shit ton of work that I have literally put in to develop the opinions that I've developed, a shit ton of reading that I've done, connections that I've developed over the course of many, many years with other journalists, for example, and activists and organizers who I routinely rely on for information, who I routinely have to fucking interview. I sometimes go outside and actually partake in these protests. Like there's a lot that goes into it. And there's also obviously a lot more production work in this, even in what Asmongold does to a certain degree, right? Like, whereas all these dudes do is just fucking watch another person's YouTube video and go, oh, these guys suck. And it's funny because that's unironically what they say about me. They literally will say, oh, he just plays a YouTube video and walks away and it's the chair doing the react. That's unironically what people think I do. If that was the case, why the fuck would anybody actually watch anything that I'm doing? You just watch the YouTube video instead, you know? You're doing what they're doing right now. Okay, once again, I'm going to repeat it here, okay? I said even Asmongold offers something more than just like a Discord chat with a bunch of dudes with nothing that they're bringing to the table and just like fucking doing goss. At least Asmongold does it to like 50,000 people, and he's sometimes like reacting to things that people are saying in the chat, and there is like a community experience. But I don't personally understand what causes people to fucking watch like 3 dudes gossiping, and 2 of them have a PFP and the other one has like a fucking Vaseline camera. Okay? In any case, the other aspect of like, well, you're doing that right now is this. I'm not simply just covering what this YouTube video is. I'm offering a lot of feedback from my own personal experience as a top content creator in the space, as someone who is a political commentator. I'm giving you additional historical context half the time. So there is like something that you're getting out of this. Maybe it's not as much as like if I were to sit down and make like a 45-minute YouTube video that really dove into it, that would probably be a little bit better for you, right? It would be much more consumable. But ultimately, everything that I do on this stream, I try to format as though it's like perfectly ready and perfectly acceptable with minor fucking editing for a YouTube video. Okay? What are you supposed to do when your friend has reactionary views and he just won't listen to anything you say? You show him articles and proof of what you're saying right now, but he's just like, nah. Just keep working at it. You nailed it with the gossip aspect. All the drama slop freaks are constantly live streaming with each other. Everyone, no matter how small a creator they are, has a mini reality show that surrounds them, which is honestly kind of fascinating. I guess maybe that's what it is. But even if you want like Friendship Simulator, I feel like you could get that from like the FaZe Clan boys. You know what I mean? Like there are better healthier friendship simulators out there, as opposed to like dudes who are exactly in the same conditions as you and spend exactly as little time outside as you do. That's what I don't understand. Like, if you're a 35-year-old dude, like why the fuck are you listening to other 35-year-old dudes who are also living in their mother's basement, who haven't actually done anything with their lives? That doesn't make any sense to me.
They reached back. We hopped on a call and had a discussion, which, instead of being like this, it was actually like this.
I just want to say that I think it was good talk to you. You have a good day, man. If you ever want to like participate in any of videos yourself, it might be too late on your end, but we'd gladly have you on.
Very curious, isn't it? Well, to be honest, not really. Because if I'm being real with you, I figured there would probably be a 90% chance of this happening because realistically, outside of the agitators, most of the people who talk like this are just normal dudes who become enraged by the fictional version of these people online. However, when they are isolated from that and actually talk to one of these people, They're perfectly civil. Much like a large majority of the dudes in our Asmongold, I'd wager, these strapping young lads that I spoke to were perfectly nice, just woefully drowning in the hate machine. If I'm being honest, probably their biggest sin is not linking anything in the description to the stuff they're reacting at. Come on boys, that's basic courtesy. But you know what? This is an educational opportunity. Why don't I show...
Why care? Maybe people like a different point of view don't sit well with me, but to each their own. Why care if no harm is being done? What's the matter with a different point of view? Great question. I don't know what your background is, but let's say, I don't know, you're Mexican American, right? You're Chicano. Let's say you might even have a fucking undocumented relative, or even if you don't, you know someone who has an undocumented relative. When people are normalizing this kind of fucking sentiment, more and more people actually look to everything that the Trump administration is doing and go, well, this is actually cool and good. This creates an environment, this creates a permission structure for this kind of sentiment to thrive. And it also creates an environment where you have less allies on your side. Now, of course, you might not be Mexican American. You might not know anyone that is an undocumented American, but you can use that for any other form of oppression and any other form of struggle in opposition to said oppression. Eventually, there will be something that you care about that is being taken away from you. It creates an environment where people are just running rampant with this kind of sentiment with no pushback. It's ultimately dehumanizing.
Show you one of the ways that people fall into this hate machine. Does that sound like fun? No? Too bad, we're doing it anyways. One of the things that they didn't really like at all that I did for my video was I cited an article covering the whole Sweet Baby Inc. Gamergate 2.0 debacle last year, and it was written by a Alyssa Mercante.
And of course, it was made by Alyssa Mercante.
Mercante,
oh
yeah.
God. I could go on a whole friggin' tirade about how awful Alyssa Mercante is. I don't, again,
This is another version of the harm being done, for those of you who are wondering, because usually these guys unify around common enemies, right? And one of them is Alyssa Mercante, a former Kotaku journalist. Remember how we were talking about during the Gamergate era, there was like the big three? I don't even remember all their names, but one is the Anita Sarkeesian, the other one's Brianna Wu. I don't know who the third one is. Alyssa Mercante basically became this like evil deity that they all fucking despise, okay? And in the process of becoming this evil deity, Zoe Quinn, okay, thank you. Zoe Quinn is the third person. So when she became this fucking evil deity, there was an endless amount of torrent of hate that hasn't stopped, as a matter of fact. You know how like we sometimes talk about like Ethan Klein and how he has like victims in his crosshairs, and how he engages in a little bit of trolling, right? That's not just a simple disagreement in worldviews for the people that are on the receiving end of said little bit of trolling. That usually amounts to an endless sea of hate, endless sea of comments they have to deal with on a daily fucking basis. People tell them to kill themselves, sometimes trying to identify where they live, trying to figure out where they live and like scare them directly. Death threats, swatting, unlimited harassment. So that doesn't just stay at like a personal disagreement. Maybe for a lot of people, they just go, I don't really care about this person. Who gives a fuck? Yeah, okay, she sucks, and moves on. But for many people, for many other people, it turns into a daily activity, a collective shared experience. And that collective shared experience is basically constantly finding new ways to fuck with these people, constantly finding new ways to ruin their lives. A process we all know as lolcowing. Maybe not all of us, but some of you know. Back in the day, lolcowing was conducted by, like a lolcow, a victim of harassment, was oftentimes conducted by like some of the darker corners of the internet, right? Nowadays is basically systematized, serialized, processed. It's all over the place. They do it on TikTok. They do it on fucking YouTube. A lot of these people make content out of it. These are guys that basically do that, right? Chris Chan is an example of like an old lolcow, a person who very clearly doesn't have the best mindset, being used and abused, like a person who maybe is already experiencing some issues with mental health, with an audience that is there to specifically egg them on and to push them in the direction of doing increasingly more insane things. Now, in most circumstances, the target, the victim, the lol cow that they want to milk is usually a person that everybody hates or everybody despises. More often than not, they're in a vulnerable population. They're in a vulnerable minority group as well. But yeah, DSP, Dark Side Phil, is an example of that as well. I think it was Boogie 1488. That's another example of that. Johnny Somali. Like, there are so many content creators like this. The TikTok version of the World of T-Shirts guy, for sure. Dark Side Phil is not a good example. Wait, what do you mean? No. I mean, like, it's a good example because there's a famous example of this. Even if he himself is like a bad person, it doesn't matter. They're still on the receiving end of a torrent of people that are trying to manipulate that person's life and ruin that person's life and derive content and derive satisfaction out of it. I'm not making a value judgment about the victims, the lol cows in general. I'm simply stating that no matter how bad the person is that you're targeting, no matter how annoying, weird, hypocritical, or self-unaware that person is, the people doing the lol cowing are engaging in an act that's even worse than that. They would be autistic people, unfortunately, same like Save a Fox Woman. Yeah, except the people that are also doing the lol cow are more often than not autistic themselves. It's like autistic people getting together and using the evil version of autism against other autistic people.
An article from Alyssa Mercante.
Yes.
Like, oh, read the article. Why? It's like so disgusting.
DSP is kind of justified though. See, that's what I mean. Look, you don't understand. As much, even though I spend a fuck ton of time online, there's never really been a moment where I've ever cared or entertained that sort of shit. I don't know anything about this dude. Every now and then I'll see a clip, I'll laugh at it because it's like really funny because he'll do something clearly stupid in a video game and then blame the video game. Okay. And then that's it. That's it. No matter how fucking awful this person is, I promise you what you're doing is most likely worse than what that person could do ever. Okay. I kind of believe lol cowing is always punching down or punching horizontally. Like, I don't think you're a lol cow no matter how hard people try. No, that's what I mean. Exactly. You can't really do that unless like someone also is not stable enough. If someone is unstable, you can do that no matter how big they are. But if someone has like a semblance of stability and a sense of self, someone like myself, fucking Sex Pest in his community has tried for years and years to basically fucking engage in an endless torrent of harassment in a similar capacity. It has not worked. The reason why it hasn't worked is because I have ways of just like tapping out of that and pulling myself out of that and just living my normal life, which ironically enough makes the people that are desperately trying to do this more and more crazy. The latest example of this, I would say, is Ethan Klein. The other reason why it's very difficult for someone like very difficult for these guys to do it to someone like myself is also because I'm a dude. Okay. The only impactful aspect of this operation has ever been on the basis of my Muslim identity, right? That's why many of the victims that these guys target will usually be women online, because women are the enemy of all people online, no matter what. Remember, woke plus men, women, okay? That's the way they see it.
Honest, it's like listening. It's
a fucking puff piece, my guy.
Do you know who that is? You shouldn't, because that means you'll be a normal, well-adjusted person. Exactly. I mean, from how they talk about her, she sounds pretty bad, right? Like, immediately discounting the article just because her name is on it. Like, that's definitely not a little suspicious. Before this video, honest to God, I didn't really know much about her other than I liked a couple of her articles on diversity stuff. Seems cool. I like that. Poggers. Very neat. So, in the earnest of trying to be fair and balanced, I tried to learn about her and why they hate her so much. And in the process of doing that, I got the best example I possibly could of how this hate machine works.
Oh,
Baba
yeah.
booey. Where to begin my great quest? Why don't we start with YouTube, shall we? What do we have here? Let's see. She was fired from Kotaku. Let's see. Ooh, she's attacking some.
Like, once again, listen to me. Anyone that closely tracks the career of a fucking video game journalist like this is deeply mentally unwell, because you are bringing this kind of anger and resentment upon yourself. Okay? She's a fucking video game journalist. I'm sorry. There is nothing she is capable of doing that could impact your life in a meaningful capacity. This is not a disrespect. I'm not disrespecting Elisa Mercante. I'm simply stating that you are fucking insane if you think this person has done anything to you. No matter how hard Elisa Mercante tries, whether she's writing for Kotaku or anywhere else, she cannot harm your life beyond how much you get angry when you see her writing. Okay? That's it. That's it. It's fucking insane. Be a normal person. Ask yourself, why do I know who this person is? Why do I care about who this person is? Why do I care about her writing? There are plenty of people who write shit that I despise. I don't read their writing. And in most circumstances, the people, wait, you clearly haven't had a game you're excited about given a low review score that ruins lives of gamers that haven't played said games? Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't want to say what I truly think, but if this is your perspective, I know Tamura is obviously joking, but if this is like an honest to God point of view that someone has, like, they do not have a life worth living, okay? Like, you have already cast aside your life. It's over. Immediately fucking hit the reset or keep living in fucking filth, I guess. That's it. Anyone who cares this much about the writing of a video game reporter is a fucking loser. You are a whole ass loser, dog. I'm sorry. You have nothing to live for whatsoever. Hit the fucking gym right now. Drop everything you're doing. Never look back at the Reddit subreddits that you frequent. Never go back into the fucking Discord circles that you frequent. Immediately start taking steps to improve your life, because you are nothing. Your life is nothing. And one day you're going to fucking perish with 0 friends and 0 family around you. And you're going to have your life flash before your eyes. And the only thing you're going to see is Elisa Mercante edits that you sat around and jerked off to for like 10 years of your fucking life. Think about how big of a fucking loser you are at that point. If there is a God, he's going to laugh at you, or she, or they. They're going to fucking laugh at you. They're going to be like, dude, this is what you did? I gave you life. This is how you chose to spend it? Fuck. It's crazy. I cover journalists all the fucking time. There are journalists that despise me, and there are journalists that I don't like. But the journalists I'm talking about have the ear of the fucking president. They manufacture consent for war, okay, where people die. Elisa Mercante is not Brett Stevens. Elisa Mercante is writing articles for fucking Kotaku. There is no way that this could impact your life in a meaningful fucking capacity, okay? God damn.
Some guy's family? I wonder who this is. Very curious. Let's see. Ooh, she's in a lawsuit? Boy, this sure is a lot to take in. And it sure seems like my YouTube senses are tingling, and every video here appears to be rage bait coded. My search is neutral. Very curious. Very curious. In fact, I just ran the numbers here. Out of the 41...
Yeah, my point is, to all the fucking, autistic gang stalk Redditors, okay, and Discord aficionados, go do that to fucking someone who matters. Someone in a fucking position of power. And I promise you, it's not a Twitch streamer. What do I always say? When people get out of hand with Ethan Klein, okay, who has been a belligerent force and has lost his dang mind, he's trying to harm people. What do I say to my own fucking community? I'm like, dude, dial it back. I don't give a shit. Don't show me any of this, okay? I say the same about Asmongold. He's a fucking powerful force on Twitch right now, okay? He is normalizing incredibly reactionary ideas, and especially when there's no pushback from other content creators, the vibes get fucked in my own backyard. I don't like that. But even then, if you're like constantly fucking stalking Asmongold, I'd be like, dude, dial it back. Calm down, okay? Stop. It's not healthy for you. It's not. If you're going to spend any time on this kind of behavior, go do it to someone who fucking matters. You know what I mean? Go do it to a congressperson. Figure out what they're doing. Figure out what their complex financial interests are. You know, figure out what their stock portfolio looks like and what kind of decisions they're making in Congress that correspond directly to fucking their own personal financial gain. Okay? Figure out what the I don't know, figure out what Andy Ogles is doing, right? Like, why the fuck do you care about fucking video game journalists? Like, what is wrong with you?
Videos in this screenshot of my search, 4 of them were not rage bait stuff, counting one video from her channel. And the most interesting part is that 22 of these 41 videos, over half, were from the same guy. Boy, I wonder if he's important. Okay, maybe YouTube is a little suspicious, so let's check out Google. Let's see, we got some pretty standard stuff here at the top. Then we got, oh, this video again. Man, this guy sure seems to talk about her a lot. Damn, there's that lawsuit again. That must be pretty important. Let's see, curious that Google is pulling from this guy's article on her work history. Man, he just really keeps showing up, huh? Okay. Now we actually got some of her work. Whatever, that's fine. Let's see, second page, almost all spam links from weird sites and blogs. Sure. Okay, you know what? Fine. Enough of this. Let's actually check out a video, shall we?
What's going on, guys?
Okay, I figured it out. Yeah, remember when, dude, the anarcho-communist is right. I heard Christy Noam said boobs in video game is bad. Here's what we gotta do, okay? Here's what we gotta do, chatters. We gotta make these guys think that Donald Trump wants to take away titties in video games, okay? Guys, I have it on good authority. You know which nation in the Middle East fucking hates big tits, big, ginormous, bulbous, rotund tits in video games? Israel. That's right. Israel wants to use its nuclear arsenal to nuke titties in video games. You know which country wants bulbous, rotund, awoogas? Iran. The Islamic Republic of Iran. That's right. They love big, juicy tits. And you know who hates those big, juicy tits? Israel. Get after it, okay? Get in there.
Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. Alyssa Mercante thought it was going to be a good idea to go on David Jaffe's live stream and proceed to talk for hours on end about anything but the lawsuit, except for while they're talking, many of the things they discuss were directly related to said lawsuit.
What I did, because I did briefly do cam work, just like digitally stripping.
And I gotta be honest, she's even dumber than I gave her credit for.
Wowzers. That was just the little intro, by the way. Okay, even though I don't know anything about it, first off, if you're in a lawsuit, you're generally not supposed to talk about it. So like, I don't really understand what he's upset about in terms of that. But how did that clip of her saying that she used to cam matter? Man, this is really confusing. I wish I could just read like the whole lawsuit and whatever that was about. Oh wait, I actually can, because every lawsuit is public record. And you know what? Because I'm mentally unwell, I did. I read the whole thing. And I suggest you do too, because the lawsuit is her suing him for damages to reputation and harassment. Because he said, knowing it was a lie, she sucked dicks for money. He claimed she said this. He never, ever, ever provided a source. Very normal. Before it got to this part, by the way, she even sent him a cease and desist to have him detract the statement so they wouldn't have to deal with this. But he didn't. But wait, there's more, because the lawsuit has an entire section for just harassment. Remember that screenshot I showed earlier where half of the videos were from him? That isn't even half of them. There's also a whole lot of tweets, a whole lot of blog posts, a whole lot of videos, most of which involve her doing something completely unrelated to him, and then him just kind of inserting himself for some reason, which he kept doing after she blocked him, which eventually led to her personal info being doxed on Kiwi Farms, in which him and others openly mocked when it happened. Very cool. Please, somebody tell me how any...
Yeah, do you understand that one chatter from early on, how this is not just like an unimpactful difference in opinion? Because these guys don't fucking behave like it's just a simple disagreement. I have disagreements with people all the time. And, you know, once the disagreement is over, I make a decision to never think about it again or deal with it at a later date. But this is not the appropriate way to deal with anything. Okay? That's it.
Any of this is related to ethics in games journalism. To quote his own words, man, I wonder where he heard that one. Because I actually like to do my research here, I started to check out the rest of these videos and do a little fact checking of my own here. First one, this is a lie. A completely unverifiable conspiratorial take that was never even close to true. Second one, also a lie and falsely framed. He made a shitty tweet on an article she posted and then she clapped back. 3, also a lie. Remember that clip before?
What I did, because I did briefly do cam work, just like digitally stripping.
A, camming is not prostitution. And B, he made that claim before she said this in this clip. What the fuck? 4, different guy, but this video is basically just like a summary of all of the hot.
Yeah, that is a Destiny Dick Rider who also, right? That's the Destiny Dick Rider, right? Who fucking is basically a part of this like weird universe where these guys will just like run around and basically rehash shit that they see on Reddit. They'll just slap together like Reddit comments and make a YouTube video off of it. And the very people that write those Reddit comments will then go and watch those videos, which I don't understand. It's like you wrote the comments, you read it on your own. Why the fuck are you going back to watch a video summarizing said Reddit comments? Very strange. Former, he ran away after the revenge porn allegations came out. I'm sure he'll fucking find his way back into the orbit. Basically, ditch the hate if you want to enjoy boobies. It's not women stopping the gamers from enjoying boobies. Yeah, I enjoy boobs. I enjoy boobies all the time. I don't fucking understand what this like anger and resentment is, where this comes from as far as like video game boobies are getting smaller. Oh, hello. What happened? Was she being wild? My dad went and bought a dog perfume. Like that's like good for dogs. Okay. Sex work is not real work. It's just not real work. It's not. How is sex work productive? I don't know. It makes me feel good when I consume it. If you think Hollywood movies and acting is not real work, then that's fine. That's like in a similar vein, I guess. But I think the reason why you consider sex work to be not real work is because sex is involved in it and it's icky and you know? Anyway, yeah, no, my dad tries to spray dog perfume on Kaya and she runs away. And she literally fucking ran away from him and came back to her place. Anyway, let's get back to this.
Hot talking points around her that are just incorrect, so like useless. In this one, the framing of this title is very, very funny because he is trying to move to have the case dismissed. This is literally nothing he's trying to frame against her somehow. It's pure bait. 6, this is just empty commentary on her lamenting the downfall of legacy media and replacing it with shitty blogs, like the one he's on. This one is about Destiny tweeting about Alyssa being down bad for Hasan.
Dude, this is another thing that I've noticed is like a very common meta amongst my stalkers and my haters is constantly undermining women by, I think, projecting as well. because there is definitely like a weird sexual pathology associated with the way they stalk my ass. So they just kind of project that own sexual desires upon other people and will instantly undermine female journalists, regardless of whatever sector they're covering. Ethan has been doing this to Cat and Barge and obviously Taylor Lorenz. And I guess Destiny did this to Alyssa Mercante. And it's so fucking strange. Like I've heard people refer to the 3 people that Ethan is suing as like my harem. Again, fucking insane. Like an insane thing to state. Like it's just, I don't know. I don't know why I do know why they do that, because they're gross. But still very strange. Additionally strange if they don't actually, if they're women especially. Like, how the fuck are you a female fan of any of these people and you go, oh yeah, that's right, this is a harem?
But like, who isn't? Also, how is this news? How is any of this article worthy? Why does he keep doing this? Like, this is so weird. Like I don't know what's going on here. Anybody who's watching this, fellas, if you're watching this, please, what am I missing? What are you seeing that I'm not? Please tell me why you and so many others seem to hate.
I disagree, but I'm afraid to say why as your Mazel Permabami. Do you think that journalists offer me favorable coverage because they agree with what I'm saying, or do you think it's because they want to fuck me? Because there are far more male journalists who are straight men, married men, as a matter of fact, that have written extensively about me, and I don't hear anybody chirping about them. As a matter of fact, when they write, they'll the attitude is, oh, Hasan paid for this article. When it's a female journalist that writes about me, then it's like, oh, this person wants to fuck him.
This person, because I'm just not seeing it. Like, what am I missing? The only thing I'm seeing here is a bunch of losers continually injecting themselves into nothing that has to do with them, lying about something, or both. Ethics in games journalism. Also, this guy keeps a very normal list of gaming journalists he thinks are bad on his website, and conveniently, most of them are women,
You're a fucking insane.
people of color, LGBT, or Jewish. Ethics in games journalism. Okay, that was a lot. I apologize for all that. Just lighten the mood. Here's a clip of me getting murdered in Repo. Hello. Fun new term. Oh boy, so exciting. First off, what you saw when I searched YouTube and Google is an example of a data void. Unfortunately, it's not nearly as cool as the name suggests, and actually quite terrible. There are a handful of different ways that these work, but this instance is when people create new terms or build strategically optimized information ecosystems around them before those terms become mainstream and open to more credible sources, if ever. In this instance, what that means is if people like this decide to abuse SEO and search terms around her name, they can fill this data void that doesn't have anything in it with whatever they want. So new people who search for her name will only find one-sided spam like this. Funny how the both sides crowd always seems to be pretty quiet with things like this, Like, let's be real here. How is a newly birthed gamer supposed to break through this wall of information, And then when there's actually the rare legitimate example of counter arguments, oops, just kidding, it's Kotaku. And also, games journalism as a whole is bad, and also the people.
I think the inflection point being that like that Alyssa wrote a article correcting the record about Sweet Baby Inc.'s involvement in these video games, which is of course directly at odds with the fake propaganda bullshit that a lot of these dummies were presenting to their slop hungry audiences, is kind of funny, because like they've been punishing her for writing the truth, okay? Because God forbid any number of these soy, incredibly sensitive, thin-skinned fucking losers ever recognize that they might have been a little wrong. Maybe they got a little ahead of themselves or anything like that. Nope. They were like, oh, we're wrong. Well, guess what? We are going to make your life a fucking nightmare in perpetuity.
People who are writing these arguments are bad and are liars and are activists and bad. Can't trust them. No, sir. I'll believe a source that you show me, but only if it's one that I like.
Like, oh, read the article. Why? It's like so dishonest.
That's how this hate machine works. It's how Gamergate worked. It's how the Sweet Baby Inc. thing worked. It's how our Asmongold worked. It's how the Alyssa thing is working right now. I want to reiterate again, most people don't know all of this because they're normal. Most people just want to be all happy-go-lucky and play their little games because politics is bad, remember? But most people also realize it's real hard to do that because the world is kind of on fire right now. And so
the leaders of the new Gamergate 2.0 or whatever, the same ones cheering on the lawsuits, by the way. No, I know. It's sad, dude. The very same motivation that causes people to take time out of their fucking daily lives to find a new victim to harass online so they can feel a little bit powerful about their own ultimately utterly powerless position in society is the exact same reason why they entertain that kind of shit. Okay? Think about it this way. You have relatives, you have friends, loved ones, family members that have careers, okay? Do you think they know who Alyssa Mercante is? Have you ever met a well-adjusted individual who's like, man, that one female journalist from fucking Kotaku, I hate that lady. I was going to say lass. I hate her. I hate her so much. I have so much hate in my heart. Do you know a single well-adjusted person that's like, yo, I watched this. I was going to say Sheila. Like, have you ever met a well-adjusted friend or a well-adjusted individual that's like, you know, I'm really following the latest and greatest of the I really loved Asmongold's yeah-based take on Donald Trump. Have you seen this fucking video?
We look for answers, but we are fickle creatures who care more about belonging and comfort than the truth. DEI, forced diversity, ethics in games journalism are not real problems in any way that they describe, but they are real concerns to them, to these people. That anger is authentic. It's real to a lot of people on Asmongold. It's real to the boys. It's real to the people who hang out in the weird YouTube areas comment section. But so much of the origin of all this stuff is obscured and propagandized and works so well at taking advantage of existing insecurities. And they get hooked into it.
Debunking Wikipedia's article on Gamergate, I would rather fucking claw my eyeballs out with rusty nails than either do that or even watch a video doing that. What the fuck? Once again, you got to be a whole ass loser, bro, to care about any of this shit. You have to be a whole ass fucking loser. Oh my God. The crustiest. Wait, 6 hours? No, that's 22 minutes. What do you mean?
So well at taking advantage of existing insecurities. And they get hooked into it.
A full Gamergate retrospective deep dive? 6 hours? 6 hours? 6 fucking hours? Not gonna lie, Anita made me a communist when people said she said everything was racist. And I looked at what she actually said and it was based as fuck. Hey, yo, chill. It's Savvy is the GOAT. Bro, that's crazy. She did 6 hours into this? That's still crazy. Why is he saying this vid is good? 6 hours? What the fuck? You saw how the girly pops on that podcast or something turned into this in the course of a year. You were right. It's gossip thing. Yeah.
Because it's so easy to believe something that makes your feely wheelies feel nice. It also makes framing obvious hate campaigns that way easier to justify harassment of someone. I don't hate them because they're a woman, because they're black or gay. I hate them because they're ruining my video games. They are invaders in a space they have never been in. And it's fun.
Any chance we can get Zoe to commit suicide? If we can get more damning evidence, I think the abortion route is a good shot. Like her fucking a train of lack dudes. God damn, bro. Oh, they mean black dudes. I was like, what are they lacking? What are these dudes lacking? What do they not have? Dude, I swear to God, like BBC cuck porn is the thing that these guys care about the most. It's always the same. The white man passed through here. How do you know? Cuck porn. Literally every time, brother. Oh my God.
Fine for them to be there. It's fine for them to be here as long as I don't have to interact with them. As long as they pretend to be like me. That's how the machine works, baby.
I think one of the craziest aspects of it is that they just kind of dropped the optics game nowadays. Like, that's why you hear so many of my haters be like, Hamas Diddy Epstein Piker is a terrorist who wants to do multiple 9/11s. I have it on good authority that he did 9/11 actually and will do it again. Like, when they post stuff like that, they don't even realize like this doesn't even come across as fucking normal to the average person. You know, they've just like dropped it. Hamas Diddy Epstein Piker. Like, they're saying MK Ultra activation words, basically.
One day, you're just scrolling Reddit, and then the next, you're fully in an in-group, out-group mentality, upvoting neo-Nazi propaganda on a streamer's subreddit, and have a media diet of slop videos that man-children spew out because it's monetarily beneficial for them to poison the minds of otherwise normal little boys on the internet. In talking to these gentlemen, I got my proof. I knew this was how things were 10 years ago when Gamergate happened, but I guess on some level it's comforting to know that things work the same way. I don't know, maybe it's not. I'm not gonna pretend that I know how to solve this great divide, but just having conversations with other people instead of shadowboxing fictional versions of them in your head really does go a long way. I mean, shit, after talking to the boys, I got called the first left-leaning person they talked to who isn't crazy. But honestly, it's probably because they haven't talked to many. Or they're talking to, you know, young high school level lefties who are just as brain damaged as the young alt-righters. Making a Blue Sky account is not activism. Shut the fuck up. We're all just dumb idiots trying to figure shit out. And the internet makes it so much harder, which is why you should not be on it nearly as much. Boys, Asmongold watchers, slop enjoyers, please let these agitators choke to death on their own drama. Let them drown into obscurity. Please. Stop making content, just hating on people online and yelling into your camera.
The Andor Season 2 trailer is here. If you follow my channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of Andor Season 1. It's set.
Bro, this guy has 55 views.
Yeah, of course you are, you fucking Disney shill. You fucking consumer, you fucking jackass who sits on his ass and just accepts fucking everything that gets shoved in front of your face because that's a Star Wars name on it, you low standard, low IQ loser.
I'm serious, brother. This isn't healthy. I wish we lived in an environment that wasn't run by algorithms that loves drama and hate. Like, I really wish I was less confident that a drama video like this one is gonna do better than the ones I pour my soul into talking about stuff I love. But unfortunately, Mark Zuckerberg can suck my fucking ass. Please do better things with your internet time. Please watch better things. Please make stuff about things you love. Please stop just hating on bullshit. Hate is not criticism. Play the Talos principle. Capri Sun, please sponsor me. Also, Repo, please sponsor me. Your game is very, very fun. My friends and I like it a lot. And we also think it would be extremely cool if you could add little butts onto the robots. That would be very funny. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
That was a good video. Crimes New Roman. All right, now let's get